Okay. So Dev 401 exam we are talking about. So in Dev 401, basically there are a few topics that you have to focus on. One is your data model, which is close to 32% of weightage. So data model will include things like where we talked about creating apps, objects, tabs, fields, all these things, right? So all these things will be covered, and moreover you will also need to understand the profiles, sharing settings, permission sets. So this all will be covered under your data model. 32% weightage for this one. So this is quite important, right? So your understanding regarding profiles, sharing settings, permission sets, and your applications, tabs, fields, all these things should be clear. For example, if I tell you that there is a profile in my organization, there is a profile, let's say sales profile, right? Now I have removed the access of I have removed a particular app from the sales profile. Let's say there is an app that I have which is called marketing app, okay, and I have a profile called sales profile. Now if I disable marketing app from the profile, will the users in the profile still get to see the tabs under that app? If I disable marketing app from the sales profile, will the users of that profile still get to see the tabs under that app? Anyone? So that's a kind of sample question that you can have from this data model section. So they will give you some certain scenarios and put questions on that, and you have to answer that. So what is the answer? If I disable the application, do the users still get to see the tabs under that app?
I wasn't able to hear you, Jit. Like your voice was cracking and I didn't get the answer. Or question. Can you please repeat it? Sorry. I was trying to speak up, but I don't know if you are.
So the question is, if you have a profile, sales profile, let's say, and you have an app called marketing app, if you have disabled that marketing app for the profile, will the users in the profile still get to see the tabs in that app?
No.
Okay.
They can't see it because it is disabled for the profile, right?
Okay.
From the profile. Yeah.
So I mean, just do a bit of more research on this and then come back to the with the answer maybe on Monday. So these kind of things, because why I want you to focus on this, because these kind of questions will be there in your 401 exam. So 32% weightage, and a lot of these will be scenario based questions, because in our profile sharing settings, permission sets, there are not too many objective questions, objective type. I mean, you do not have a question where they will say, okay, what is a profile, what is a permission set? No, nothing like that, right? Or a simple question which is just a yes or no kind of answer, lesser of them, but you will have more scenario based questions here. Business logic is where we will talk about our formulas, validations, workflows and approvals. Then you have data management, with 10% weightage. So data management, we know import, export, data loader. User interface is 15%, which comprises of mostly of page layout and stuff. Alright. So what all things can be customized on page layout, and then we talked about removing certain fields on the page layout, and then we talked about making certain fields mandatory on the page layout. So on those lines. Then we have reports and dashboards, which is again 10%. So this is again on the reports side. So 32, 55, 65 and 80 and 90. So almost 90% is here, and %5 seems is application design concept. So here when I talk about fields, relationships are also here. 5% is on application design concepts. So 95%, 5% might be in some other place, I guess. So that is how it is actually. So this is the kind of breakup that you have for 401, right? So if you see, all these topics we have covered, right? So now you are ready to start preparing for 401. You are at a position where you can start preparing for 401. You don't have to wait for us to complete the other aspect. Now we will get into the programming side of it. We will get into the Apex and Visualforce part, right? So parallelly you can keep on preparing on this thing, these things. Alright, so for preparation there is a small trick that you can have. What I would suggest is, while you're preparing for it, you guys can divide the topics amongst yourselves, right? Best place to read about this is our Salesforce help topics. So when you work on Salesforce, you see the help link there, right? So help link is the best place to prepare for certification, because a lot of questions which things which are mentioned in the help can be a part of your questions, okay? And you will find pretty much of information there on the help link, okay? So I'll show you how to use the help link, and then what you guys have to do, best way to prepare is read the help and prepare your notes, right? So for example, go and read about helps, read the help about, let's say, creating apps, objects, tabs, get a little more information, and then prepare your notes wherever you feel that, okay, fine, this information seems to be a little important, or there's something that I need to note it down, just make a note of it. Now the point is that if you all start working on everything, will become a little difficult for you. So what we can do is we can just divide the topics. Right now 3 of you are there, so we can make it into 3 things. That will be fine. Anuj will work on certain topics, come up with the notes in a day. Chetan will work on certain things, and Hemant can work on certain things, right? So that way is what will happen once you guys have worked on a few of the things. That way your what do you call this, you will be able to save a lot of time, and you will also get an idea from what kind of notes the other person is preparing. If you like the other person's notes, you can also modify your notes in the same way. So that is the thing, a group study kind of thing, correct? So I will the reason why I am trying to talk to you on these things today, because I want you guys to utilize your weekend to prepare the initial draft of the notes by this weekend. Okay, so that is the thing. Take out some time on the weekend and then prepare the notes. So that is the thing. Alright, so let me just go and show you how to use the help link properly. Have you ever used help on Salesforce? Any one of you?
Yes, I did.
Did you find it helpful actually?
Yes, it is.
Does it provide you? Yeah.
Yeah, the documentations.
Yeah, it gives quite a bit of information. And you will get to learn a lot of things, not just for the certification purpose. You will get to know a lot of things which you might not know or something, right? So that is again a good thing about Salesforce help. All right. So for example, you want to understand a little more about workflow rules. All right. So you can go to setup, create workflow rules, click on this, and from here, one is certain information you have on this page itself, but you don't need to focus much on this. What you can do is you can just go to this page and then click on help for this page. This is where you should go. The moment you click on this, it will take you to the help link for this page. So this is the best way of reading about things. If you click on the help link here and then you keep on browsing through or navigating for the topic, that will make your life very difficult. Be very precise. Just go to the topic that you want to read a little more about, and that is the reason why I am telling you that okay, fine, divide the topics so that you just have a few topics to take care of. Go to those topics, go to the help, read about it, whatever you feel is important, make a note of it, and then combine the notes. That's it. Leave here. See? Read about it. Try and understand what it says and all. Alright. So there will be certain important points that it would talk about, and you can just make note of that. If you feel that there is something, everything that you know, that's fine. You can just skip that. Immediate actions, time dependent actions. So is there something important related to that which you have to understand? And click on creating workflow rules. So your note should be about things which are important. So note should be more like your bullet points, and not just complete copy paste of this thing. If you copy paste the entire stuff, then that will not be useful, right? So your note should be like bullet points. That will be fine. These are a few important points related to workflow. These are a few important points related to approval. So that case, correct? When I say notes, I mean note down any important points. Overall, you understand what is workflow, so you don't have to get confused on that. So overall, you know what is a workflow. Overall, you know what is a validation rule. But are there any important things? So that is what you actually just have to take care of and prepare notes for it, right? So you all are okay with working on some topics over this weekend? Then we can talk about who takes which topic and comes prepared on Monday.
Yes, Chief.
Hemant? All right. So if you guys have any choice of topics, it's fine. Otherwise, I think one of you should take this. One person should take data model. So we basically have three things here. One is data model. So one person should take data model. The other one should take business logic and data management.
I'll take data model.
Who was that? Anuj says data model, okay.
I will take business logic. Chaitanya.
Chetan will take business logics and data management, which is responsible. And then Hemant takes care of that EUI reports and application report design concepts. So application design concept is basically nothing. You don't have to prepare anything on that. That's more of the concepts that you have. So you don't need to prepare anything there. They might ask you a question from any one of these topics itself. Alright then. Okay, go ahead and start preparing your notes. Fine then. The other
Just only one.
please tell me.
Just one question. I was saying that we need to prepare notes only from this help link, or we can Google it and go for the different links also.
See, doesn't matter where you go or how much information you can gather, because now you are owner of this topic, right? So as much information as you can gather, it's fine. But I will just suggest one small thing. Whenever you are taking any information, take it from a resource which is pretty much authenticated kind of thing, right?
Trusted one.
Trusted one, yeah. So maybe try and take any information from Salesforce thing. And the reason why I suggest this help, because I don't see any information which is not available here and will be available outside, because we all learn from here itself, right? Salesforce help link is the most updated one. Usually what happens, you might end up reading someone writing something on a forum 2 years back, which might have changed by now, right? So that is one thing. So I mean, let us make it very simple. Once we are done with collecting all the information from the help, because help itself has too much of information, all minute details, whatever can be done, not done, all that stuff is there. Then let's get into the next level in case we want to. Fine?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that is one thing. The other thing that I would want you guys to do is work on a requirement, but this weekend utilize for preparing the notes, because if I give you two things, there will be too much of work for you over the weekend. So let's do one thing, prepare on the notes. Once we meet on Monday, then I will give you a requirement. right? All right, so that is what we are going to do. One thing is done. Now let's get into our next topic, which is going to be Visual Force. So before I get into Visual Force, let me just give you a little overview of what we are going to do from here. So far, whatever we have done, we have learned the declarative development. You guys know what is declarative development? Or declarative side of development?
Where we don't have to like code out of the box things that we get from Salesforce.
Yes. So basically, whenever we are talking about development or customizations in Salesforce, there are two ways of doing that. One is declarative, the other one is programmatic. Declarative is where you do not need to write a program. You just have the drag and drop options and you just have to declare certain things here and there and it can be done. So far whatever customization you have done is the declarative side. So Salesforce has kept it pretty simple. All the declarative customization development goes into 401. That is what I showed you, right? Now comes the programmatic side of it. So that is what we are actually going to get into. Just a quick question. I think I asked you guys earlier also. For my understanding, can you all tell me if you have any programming knowledge, any programming language that you guys have worked on earlier? All of you, please type it in the chat window or whatever.
I did work on Java like 3 years back.
Okay, 3 years back.
Yeah.
HTML?
Yes, HTML.
Okay.
CSS, JavaScript.
Okay. How about others? Chetan does not have any programming knowledge. Okay. Chetan, HTML at least? Sometime in your life, somewhere? HTML you have done, that's fine. How about Hemant?
Yeah, it's like I did SAP ABAP development, but nothing about Salesforce like Java and HTML.
So SAP ABAP is what language they use there?
It's a kind of like SQL. You can say SQL. It's a type of language, but something similar to like SQL.
C, C++, HTML, anything on these lines?
C++, I have academic knowledge.
Okay. HTML?
HTML not so familiar.
Alright, fine. So let me just give you a little brief on this. Let's let us understand what exactly we are going to do, right? So we are actually going to deal with 3 different types of languages here. Okay. So let me just tell you for your understanding. One is a markup language. Okay. Markup language is basically used for designing the interface. Okay. For setting the markups or designing. Like HTML is a markup language, right? So using HTML, you do not define logics and all those things here. You simply define the designing components using markup. So HTML is not used for putting logics and all that stuff. It is used for designing a web page or the front end, so that sort of thing, or an email template. So that is what you can design, right? Mostly used for designing. Okay. So in Salesforce we have Visual Force, which is a markup language. Okay. So Visual Force is not complete what do you call, programming language. It's just a markup language. It's like designing the interface part and setting up the stage kind of thing. So the look and feel of your application will be controlled using Visualforce. So Visualforce is pretty similar to HTML. Okay, so that is the thing, and this Visualforce can be used for designing all the front-end user interface. All right. So in case you want to customize your interface or the UI part and you are not able to do that using declarative, then you will move into Visualforce, right? Visualforce will allow you to design the page the way you want and all that stuff. Okay. Second is your query language. An example for that in real life is SQL, right? SQL you must have heard, or MySQL, right? So this query language is used for querying the data, retrieving the data, or maybe what do you call this, making certain changes in the data. So it always has to do something with the database, right? So we need a query language here because we have the database. We have seen that we have already created objects and we have to fetch the data, or we have to fix something in the database. So we need query language as well here. Okay, the query language which we will use in Salesforce are SOQL and SOSL. So SOQL stands for your Salesforce Object Query Language, and this stands for Salesforce Object Search Language. Fine. All right. So we need a language to edit or work on the front end interface. Then secondly, we need a language to query the data, right? To search the data or to modify the data, because we are dealing with our database as well. And then there is another language type which is a proper full-fledged programming language. So programming language is something which is a complete language. Query language and markup language are not complete. A programming language is where you can write the complete story. So these are small parts. Front end will not have any logics, query will not have any logics. You cannot write the story there. Complete story, what you want the application to do, that can be written here in the programming language. So programming language is more like a the script writer of a movie, or the director of a movie who controls all the things, right? So this programming language controls the things. So programming language can be common examples we know all: C, C++, Java, right? The programming language which we will use in Salesforce is Apex. Okay. Now our Apex is pretty similar to Java or C++. But anyone who does not know Java still do not need to worry, because even if you have a basic understanding of any programming, C also, that will work, no problem, right? Because anyhow I'm going to talk about the data types of Apex in these sessions. So you will have a fair understanding of how it works and not. Alright. So that is one thing. Second, only thing that I forgot to mention here is this is similar to your SQL only. Our SOQL and SOSL syntax are pretty similar to SQL syntax. So that is the thing. Alright. So these are the things that we will be dealing with in our programming side, and these are the things which Salesforce uses for defining things. So whenever you have to customize something using programming, you will have the requirements. Either you want to customize some interface. So if you want to do the interface customization, then you will use Visualforce, or you want to control something in the backend, then you will need Apex. If you need something to be done on the database, then you will need the SOQL and SOSL, right? If you want to search the data or something like that, these query languages will be required, right? So this is what we have in Salesforce. Nothing else apart from this. That's it. All right. So we will start with Visualforce first. First of all, we will see how to create a custom interface, and then we will gradually move into the Apex part. SOQL and SOSL we will do as part of Apex only. Okay. So that is the thing. Just give me a minute. Open the file. Alright, so starting on the Visualforce part, talking about Visualforce. Now what is this Visualforce thing? As I told you, this is the language that we are going to use for the front end thing. Before I move into Visualforce, there is a small thing that I would want to discuss with you. Do you guys understand what is an MVC framework? Have you heard of MVC framework?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, what is that MVC framework?
Model view
controller.
Model view controller. Okay, what does that model view controller mean?
View, which is basically the front end of our web-based application. Model is the database, and the controller is the logic.
Right. So MVC is basically a framework of any application where there are three layers. Okay, one is the model, one is the view, one is the controller. I think we discussed it sometime in our session also. Again, talking about this model, view and controller. So model is the database at the back end. So if you this is a framework where the application has three layers. It has the database in the back end, it has a front end interface, and then there are controlling logics. Okay. So model is the database at the back end, view is the front end interface, and controller is the set of logics. So binding logics, what happens when a button is clicked and all that stuff, right? So that is all. That is the MVC. So if you see, our Salesforce works on an MVC framework, right? So there is a backend, there is a database in the backend, there is a front-end interface, and then there is, you know, the set of logics. Once I click on some button, something happens, and then all these controller has to be there, right? Which connects the front end and the back end. Right, so once the end user clicks on the front end, something happens in the back end, so that thing is controlled through this. Got it? So can you think of any other example of MVC that you use in real life? MVC framework kind of thing? Any other app that you can think of?
Salesforce application itself.
Salesforce, yeah, apart from Salesforce.
Salesforce.
Yeah, apart from Salesforce, what can you think of?
I guess any web-based application runs on Java as this thing.
Any portal that you see.
Yes.
Yeah, so all your these online shopping portals and all those things, they have a database at the back end, and they have a front end, and then they have the controlling logics. So that sort of things. So these are all our MVC examples, or any other web-based application. I think this is what Chetan was saying, net banking. Okay, yeah, that again kind of MVC framework, right? All right. So basically in Salesforce also we have this thing. So Visualforce will be used for controlling this part of it. All right. The Visualforce basically takes care of this part, the view part, right? Apex will control the controlling logics, and model database somehow we have actually said, but in case we want to access the database or something, the queries will be used here. So this is how it's actually going to be. All right. So getting back to Visualforce again. So let's understand the visual. You know what is Visualforce? Visualforce is a framework that allows developers to build sophisticated custom user interfaces. So it allows users to build custom user interfaces. The ones which are already there, those are standard ones, right? In case you want to have your own style of an interface, the way you want it, then you will go with a custom user interface. That can be hosted natively on the Force.com platform. So these interfaces that you design, these can be hosted on the Force.com platform, right? The Visualforce framework includes a tag-based markup language. So basically this framework includes a markup language similar to HTML, all right? So this is what we were talking about. So this has a language which is pretty similar to HTML. For people who have not worked that much on HTML, I will recommend a link which is called w3schools.com. I do not know if you guys had a chance to look into that or sometime, but it's a very good link. So over this weekend you guys can spend a little time with w3schools.com also. That will help you grab your Visualforce concepts really well. So just go to this website w3schools.com and click on Learn HTML and try to, if you spend 2 hours, I think you should be done till here. Fine, so from here till here will hardly take you 2 to 3 hours, right? In case someone does not know HTML, you don't have to know all the tags or codes. I just want you to understand the basics of HTML, how it is used. If you trust me, I'll tell you that I also do not know a lot of HTML tags, because it's difficult to remember all the tags. But I want you to understand the logics. I don't want you to remember all the tags. When you want to write some tag, how that is used. You can always come take reference from these web-based things, but understand how that is used, right? So even if you are done till a few of these topics and you understand how the tags are working, it's fine. I'm pretty sure you guys must be a little aware of that. It will be good if you spend a little time on this over the weekend. Okay, people who have not worked that much on HTML, people who have already worked, it's absolutely fine. So it's pretty similar to HTML, and good thing about Visualforce is that some of the HTML tags can be used on Visualforce also, right? So for small formatting and all those things, we do not have any Visualforce tags for those. We use HTML tags there. So Visualforce supports HTML tags as well. That is again one reason why I am asking you to learn a bit of HTML, understand a bit of it. That will be helpful, right? And it's pretty simple. I mean, learning HTML is nothing. It's very simple. It's just defining a markup. All right. So we were here. So we have understood what is Visualforce. Now, first thing that you have to do is you have to enable the development mode. Okay, Visualforce development mode on your system. What is development mode? Now, this development mode embeds a Visualforce page editor in your browser. Right. So before we create a Visualforce page, we will enable the development mode on your developer edition. This will embed a Visualforce page editor in your browser. What will this page editor do? That allows you to see code and preview the page at the same time. So that page editor will basically allow you to see the code and the page at the same time. Okay, to enable the development mode, you just have to do this. So open your developer editions. I want you all to do this on your developer edition right now. Go to My Settings, Personal, Advanced User Details, and then click on Edit. Select the development mode checkbox and click Save. Okay, just let me know once done. Go to My Settings, Personal, Advanced User Details, click on Edit. So to write the Visualforce code, it is good if you have that code editor available with you, which will be given to you through this development mode. If you get this code editor, you can write the code easily. Let me know once done. Done. Setting of development mode. Just you have to check the checkbox and then you just have to come back. My setting, personal, advanced user details. Great. Okay. Fine. So now let us create our Visualforce page. Okay, so there are two ways of creating a Visualforce page. There are two ways of creating a Visualforce page. So I'll show you how do we create a page. So when I'm talking about the custom user interface and all those things, first thing that I have to do, I have to create a page and then I put components into that, right? So there are two ways you can actually create a Visualforce page or interface, basically, which can be used as an interface. First way is you just go to your setup. Under setup you go to develop and then you click on pages. So this is a way of creating a Visualforce page. Go to setup, develop, pages. Click on this and then you just go ahead and click on new. And then give it a label and a name. Let's say my page. Setup, develop pages. Chetan. Setup, develop pages. Alright. So this is the first way of creating the page. Alright, then save it. This is the code in the page, default code, and then you can go and customize this thing. So this is one way of creating the page, but we do not use this method of creating a page. We'll use the other way, okay, for which we have enabled the development mode. So you should first of all enable the development mode. My settings, my settings, personal, advanced user details. Click on edit. And then there is development mode. Where it is? It's here. Checkbox. Click on save. Right. So this is something which you all have done. So you need to make sure that your development mode is checked. Now once this part is done, there is another way of creating a Visualforce page. What is the other way of creating a Visualforce page? In your browser, add /apex/page name to the URL after salesforce.com, right? For example, if your Salesforce instance is this, the new URL should be, you just have to go to the URL and make changes in the URL, right? After your salesforce.com, put a slash, then type apex, give a slash, and then type the page name. This is what you have to do to create a new page. But this thing will work only when your development mode is on. Okay. Okay. Click the create page link to create the new page. So this is what we have to do. Got it? So other way of creating a page is a shortcut where you straight away go to the URL, make certain changes on the URL, remove everything after salesforce.com on the URL, put a slash, then type apex, give a slash, and then type the page name. This is what you have to do. That's it. Okay. So let's do this and see how it works. So ideally what it is asking us to do, asking us to remove all the things from the URL, delete everything in the URL after salesforce.com slash. Delete this entire stuff. Then type apex slash. Then give a page name. right? This is what will happen. It will throw you an error, but what is the error? It says this page does not exist. The moment you type this thing here, it will throw an error. The error is this page does not exist. However, it will also give you an option to create this page. So you just click on this and create the page. Got it? So that is how you create a page, a Visualforce page. So we usually create page using this URL plus process. We don't use that develop thing, setup develop, that we do not use generally. So this is the common one. This is how developers usually create a page, right? Okay, there is a small thing that I want to do. I feel I should use the login password of one of you to create the sample pages and the codes. So anyone who has a simple kind of a password and would want to share the login credentials with me, so that I can use that org to create these Visualforce pages and all, so that you guys can later on go back and see that. Okay, so let me continue to work on this one itself, and then I will see if I can share the password and all that stuff for this one itself with you guys. Okay, so you come here and then you will see this option that your Visualforce error will be thrown saying that the page does not exist, and then it gives you an option of creating the page. So you will simply click on this button, it will create the page. That's it. So this is one more way of creating a Visualforce page. Go ahead, type in the URL, and the moment you see that error, page does not exist, yeah, the moment you see that error, you simply just go and create the page. That's it. So this is the page that we have created. Now this is how it looks. This is my page. Where you see this, congratulations, this is your new page. This is the page that we have created. That's it. All right. Now this is the code here. This is where I have the complete code of the page. So this is why we enable the development mode. Remember I told you development mode gives you a code editor. So this is the code editor that you get. So what advantage you have is you can modify that code here and you will be able to see the changes here. See? Instead of congratulations, I make it hello and I save it. There's a save button. It got updated here. Put a line break. Put one more line break. Right. Put something else here. Got this? Simple. So this is how it all works. Okay, so the page got created. This is my new page. This is how the page looks. This is the code. Okay, so in Visualforce, what you have to do, these are called components. This is a component. Okay, so for everything that you want to bring on the page, you have to define a Visualforce component. So component can be anything. A page can be a component, a button can be a component, a form on the page can be a component, an input field can be a component, a link can be a component, right? So these are all called components. So the first component that you have to embed into a page is the Apex page itself. So first of all, you should have a page component, right? So the outermost component of a Visualforce page will be Apex:page. So you have to start the component and you have to close the component. So that is it. Fine. Now, within whatever you want to design on this page, that has to be within these page components. Okay, within the start and close of the page component. For this thing, now if you want to put a form, button, link, input field, output field, image, whatever you want to put, you have to put it within this thing, right? So this is defining the boundaries. So by default, when I create page, this comes here and this part gets created, and then we do all our designing here. Okay, so that is the thing. Got this thing? Simple. How to create a page and how to put components. Now if you notice one thing here, these are all HTML tags. This line break, this is HTML. This is also line break tag. This H1 is a header tag on HTML. Okay, so as I told you earlier, HTML can be used here. If you want to make this text bold, you can use the bold tag for HTML. Make it bold. If you want to make it italics, this tag for HTML. Want to put a line break here. See, things are being controlled through my HTML tags. Alright. So I would just give you a small activity. I would not go further into Visualforce today. I'll just give you a small activity. Your activity would be to create a Visualforce page, and within the page component, we are not learning any other component today. We are not going into other details of the Visualforce. Within this page component, I want you to put your HTML things. So whatever HTML you learn from here, try to implement in your page. See how your HTML things, like let's say you learn how to put HTML headings or something else, the colors and all those things. So the attributes that you learn or the tags that you learn from your HTML, try to put them here. See how it is working. Okay, some of them will work, some of them will not work. Let me know, I'll give you that thing also, heads up. So some of HTML tags will not work here, but that's fine, no problem. So just try and design a so a simple Visualforce page using your HTML code, right? The moment you start understanding that part, we can actually go ahead and talk on the creating of Visualforce pages and the components of the Visualforce pages into that part, right? So that is something that we can easily then get into. Clear on that? Please tell me if